I know, I won't forget this time. All right, good evening, welcome. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Common Council for Tuesday, May 3rd. If you'd all please press your aye and confirm buttons.
You're going to have to do it now.
All right, let's do that now. Aye and confirm.
All 11 are present, Your Honor.
All right, we have a quorum. We'll proceed. If you'd all please now rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, we stand here tonight in gratitude for the gift of life and all the blessings you bestowed upon us. Tonight, we also stand in gratitude of one of the most special people in our lives, our mothers. While we celebrate Mother's Day this weekend, it's every day that we're thankful to our mothers for their unconditional love and support, that they make each of us the person we can be. Today and every day, we need to pray for mothers. We pray for those mothers who struggle to balance the tasks of work and family, for those whose children have physical or emotional challenges, for those who raise children on their own, for those who have lost a child, for those who are unable to properly nourish their children due to poverty. Bless all mothers, that they may lead their children to know and do what is right, living not for themselves alone, but for you and others. Also tonight, we ask your continued blessings on our military personnel, especially those serving on the USS Green Bay. We ask this in your name. Amen. I love Mother's Day. All right, so with that, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes of the April 19th meeting. So there's a motion by Alderman Andy Nicholson, second by Alderman Bill Galvin, to approve the minutes of the April 19th meeting. Any corrections, anything you want to change in this report, Alderman Scannell?
Yes. Thank you. The nomination for Joe Moore as president should read Randy Scannell, not Mark Stoyer.
Okay. I accept. All right. All right, so with that notation, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it, and the minutes of the April 19th meeting have been approved. We're now looking for an approval of the agenda.
So moved.
There's a motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Weary to approve the agenda. Anything you want to...
Your Honor.
All right,
May-
Alderman Tom Dwayne.
Yes, I'd like to take up number 5 after late communications, finance.
All right, so there's a motion by Alderman Tom Dwayne to move up item 5 to the first report of reports for council action. Do we have a motion on that? We'll need a second. Seconded by Alderman Mark Stoyer. Any discussion here? All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Anything else on the agenda? With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended. There's a motion by Alderman Tom Slottick, second by Alderman Chris Weary. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nay. So just again, I know this is the second meeting of the new council meetings, so the agenda, we have people here, but the agenda is going to be taken in as order as was just approved, and we can now continue.
Report by the mayor.
I have just 3 quick things to mention. Thursday, as you know, is the National Day of Prayer throughout the country, and we celebrate that here in Green Bay. There is a breakfast that takes place at the Riverside Ballroom at 7 a.m. We have a good turnout by police, fire, and many citizens of Green Bay. And I just want to remind the council, it's $20 a ticket. I know many of you come to that. But that's a nice event. And then there's a luncheon as well. That's a women's luncheon where they have a guest speaker. I committed to mentioning both of those. This week is also Cancer Awareness Week. And we as government leaders, as city leaders, part of our responsibility is in education and awareness. So this really culminates Friday with Wear Yellow Day. But yesterday was Wear Gray Day, and it was really calling attention to brain cancer. And today is Wear Orange Day. So a lot of us are wearing some type of orange to call attention to kidney cancer. Tomorrow, Pink Day, which of course, awareness of breast cancer. Thursday, blue ties or blue shirts, that's awareness to colon cancer. And then on Friday is Wear Yellow Day. And I want to mention this not just to the people here, but the people who are listening as well. That's a day that we really engaged in Green Bay with the students. I mean, that was really started, Preble and all the schools now, and a lot of people will be wearing yellow. So I just want to give all the people who work so hard on cancer prevention and awareness their respective day and this week. And just lastly, Sunday's Mother's Day. That's like my favorite day of the year. So happy Mother's Day. Okay.
We're on to announcements.
We begin with Alderman Mark Stoyer.
Thank you, Your Honor. I had a little episode last week where I was in the hospital for a couple of days, and I wanted to thank Station 6 crew, of our fire department. The folks that took care of me were Captain Paramedic John Frederickson, Private Paramedics Shauna Wachholz, and the engine crew of Cam Sanford, Brett Schrader, Jordan Wack, Andrew Watt. Also my fellow workers, nurses Danny Kunish, Carrie Jacobs, and co-workers Paul Bay, Ann Cornell, Deb Money, Amy Vanderkellen, and Audrey Morris. I had a situation where my chest was it was very painful. I thought maybe there might be a heart attack of sorts, but it turned out to be a muscle spasm. And my troponin levels, I learned what that is. That's an enzyme in the heart that if it's out of whack, mine was 4 times the elevated setup, so that wasn't good. But everything came out clear. I'd like to thank Tom Dwayne, Mayor Schmidt, as well as Andy Rosendahl and Tom Sladek for coming up to visit, and the kind words from Alderman John Vanderleest and others as well. So I'm fine, and I'm very thankful for our fire department, and we'll move forward. They gave me another second chance. I'd also like to mention that this month is Wisconsin's Historic Preservation Month. I'm on the Historic Preservation Commission, and I'll leave these posters at City Hall. That's one, and then we also have Archaeology Month as well. So take a look at all the wonderful buildings and structures that we have in this community and around the state. And stay tuned for further developments from our committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements? All right, Clerk.
We're on to appointments. Reappointments, Board of Review, Jay Hammond. Green Bay Plan Commission, Mary Beth Conard. Transit Commission, Kevin Keene. Room Tax Commission, Wendy Townsend. Police and Fire Commission, Rod Golhan. New appointments for Green Bay Plan Commission is Jerry Wisbiski, and Green Bay Housing Authority, Terry Refsgaard.
All right, we have a motion by Alderman Tom Dwayne, second by Alderman Joe Moore, to approve the reappointments and the new appointments as stated by the clerk. Any discussion here? Hearing none, all in favor of those appointments, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it, and those appointments have been reconfirmed and the new appointments made, and I thank you for that.
We're on to referral of petitions and communications. On page 1 of your packet, you have all petitions and communications received by the clerk's office by noon on Thursday. We will now accept any late communications you may have.
I'll begin with Alderman Chris Weary.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have one for traffic. Install a 2-hour parking on school days on Ernst Drive. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Nicholson.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 3 late communications. The first one, requesting available copies of the city management letter from the external auditor for the last 10 years. My second, late communications, protection welfare, to review the number of reported shots fired each year for the last 10 years. Coincide with the last late communication for protection welfare, review the number of violent crimes / included subcategories, examples, stabbings from the last 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Joe Moore.
Thanks, Your Honor, for personnel to change our current neighborhood development specialist job designation from LTE to full-time.
All right, thank you. Alderman Tom DeWayne.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. I got two of them, both for finance. To make a graph showing total outstanding debt from the last 10 years, and the other one is to create a graph to show the overall bonding for the last 10 years, and show, how much for each year that we bonded for. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Nicholson, do you have anything else? Okay. All right. Alderman Randy Scannell.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have two for INS. The first one is to look into building the East River Trail using solar pavement. And the second is there's been a lot of talk about lead pipes, but really lead paint is a much more serious problem. And with the past few years, the acts that our state government has passed exempting lead paint manufacturers from products liability, change the definition of lead-bearing paint to allow more lead in paint, and reduces state lead paint inspections and testing requirements. I'd like INS to look into how the city might regulate lead paint.
Okay, thank you. Chris, anything else? All right, Clerk, do you have any late communications?
No, I do not.
Well, then I'll entertain a motion. All right, the motion by Alderman Gaizima, seconded by Alderman Chris Weary to refer all petitions and communications to the proper authorities. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. All petitions and communications have been referred.
Reports for council action. Report of the Finance Committee.
What are your wishes regarding? All right, there's a motion by Alderman Tom DeWayne and seconded by Alderman Joe Moore to approve the report of the Finance Committee. That's item 5 in your report. We adjusted that in the agenda. A motion second to approve the report of the Finance Committee, and that was for the meeting held on Tuesday, April 26. Are there any items out of these 12 items you want to handle separately? Item 3. Okay, hearing none others, all in favor of the remainder of that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nay. So all those, yes, sir. Okay. All right, noting the abstention of Alderman Nicholson. So everything has been approved on that report with the exception of item 3. What are your wishes regarding item 3? There's a motion to approve by Alderman Tom DeWayne, second by Alderman Tom Slottick. And Alderman Weary pulled that, and I will recognize him.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was at the meeting and remember and read some of the minutes, and it's my understanding staff really wanted to continue with the same provider. And we wanted to put it out for bid again to see if we could get some more competitive rates, which is fine, but I would like to hear why we're not doing the RFP as opposed to the RFQ to give us more flexibility in choosing who we think is best.
Alderman Tom DeWayne, you were at the committee meeting?
Yeah, talking to Rick Jensen and the Chief Smith, the contract, they're going to keep the contract the same, and we're going to hold it a 7-day hold. The only difference is the reason for a quote is because they're not changing any of the wording or anything like that. It's a cost savings. City does this, the county does it, all municipalities do it when there's an opportunity to see where it goes. The contract ends, and so that's plain and simple. It's just we out of respect of the two that went through this already, we know there's two that are going to be bidding on this, and they both know what the contract is, and so we didn't feel the need to put them all through that, and all parties agreed. So, including Chief Smith.
I guess if I could ask perhaps our chief, why would we limit ourselves? I believe the RFQ dictates we must take the lowest price. So what if there's a very slim difference, and we have other factors we want to include in it.
Talking to Mr.
Do you want to talk to the other from Alderman Duane or the chief? You have the floor.
Well, if Council President Duane...
Before, and it's not automatic. I mean, because if you talk to Steve Grenier or Director Grenier and all that, you know, we get quotes and stuff like that too, but sometimes another company that, you know, bid a little bit higher might be a better applicant, and so, you know, they choose that, so.
Which is why we did the RFP.
I think we've done our RFQs before.
Chief Smith, I know kind of new to this whole thing. The alderman is asking about an RFQ for quotation versus the whole RFP for the proposal. And I think the motion was just an RFQ, right?
It was.
Or it is. Do you want to comment on that, Chief Smith?
My initial request was that we continue on with the contract that we had and give it a one-year extension. That was based on my staff's recommendation that they were pleased with the performance of Pagarland. But when it got brought to my attention that they wanted to take a look at it and see if they could save the city up to tens of thousands of dollars per year, I certainly have no problem taking another long look at it. And whether it's an RFP or an RFQ, whichever is the most efficient for the city, I'm fine with either one. There are no significant changes that I see or that we want to ask for in the new contract. It'll be substantially the same contract that we already have.
Personally, I would like the flexibility to be able to choose at the end when we see the numbers come in and not be locked into the bottom one. So I'm going to make a motion to substitute RFP for RFQ.
No, RFQ for...
We would be sending out an RFP.
Second.
Right. So there's Alderman Weary made a motion. This was seconded by Alderman Zima to amend item 3 to direct the purchasing agent to issue a request for proposal. That's more encompassing than a request for quote. So there's a motion and a second. That's what we're discussing. Do you have anything else, Alderman Weary?
No.
Right. So again, the motion on the floor is the amendment, changing it from a quote to a proposal. Alderman Joe Moore.
Thanks, Your Honor. We did choose RFQ simply because we wanted an apples for apples quote. We wanted line by line, each one of these contracts to be exactly the same, to get that quote back. And we could go with RFP, but the reason we went RFQ was because instead of getting a proposal offering a 4, 5, or 6 day hold, we really wanted the 7 day hold. And that, I think, has been the consensus from the public that we've been hearing, and that was the consensus at the meeting. So that's why we went with RFQ to match the current contract, which Chief Smith has even said the current contract is working fine. We want to see if we can get these same terms at a lower rate. I'm really fine either way as long as we're stipulated the 7 day hold on this.
All right, thank you. Yeah. Alderman Randy Scannell?
Oh, I'm sorry, no.
All right. Alderman Tom Duane?
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. You know, I have to agree with Alderman Moore. I think the RFQ is the best way to go. I'd like to ask our attorney. It's mentioned that if it's mandatory that we take the lowest bid. Is that true? On a quote?
Yes, sir. On a quote, it is required that you take the lowest bid.
Even if they're not qualified?
So what you would do is include in the quote what specifications they're giving you a quote on. And if we miss anything, the risk falls on us to make sure that we've captured everything that we want them to do. Okay,
so if we instruct staff to put the quote out and the contract is exactly the way the contract is that the chief wants, then and they both meet that qualification, then obviously we would take the lowest bidder. I mean, but if we put that in the wording, would that be the proper thing to do?
As
you just stated.
So if you want to be able to examine it to determine qualifications, the request for proposals is the proper way to go.
Right.
If you're looking at just plain numbers and you have everything determined that you're going to have them bid on without taking into consideration their qualifications to do it, then the request for quotes is proper.
Okay, thank you. And that just goes to show what I believe the quote is the right way to go. They both are going to be bidding on the exact same thing. We both know they're highly qualified, and there is the best thing to do is take the politics out of this. It got very nasty last time, and an RFP could put it back down that road. Each person that wants to bid on this will get the exact same contract, be able to look at it, and I think that's the best way to go, because we clearly know who the people that are going to be bidding on this. There really is only two, and I think that's the honest way to go, and so that's why we suggested RFQ. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Alderman Zima?
Thank you, Your Honor. First of all, I second the motion because I think we should have maximum flexibility. And I'm kind of offended when they say, we're going to take the politics out of it. The politics, that's what everything is about. What is one going to do that maybe the other is going to do? When you have proposals, you have opportunity to maybe gain more. And you get a chance to look at what everybody has to offer. I look at the Humane Society. They take all the animals even after 7 days. They're turned over to them. They keep them. They do a lot more for our community than others. So I want to hear about all that. And we had long meetings about it. And there's a lot of people in this community that support the Humane Society and the excellent, fantastic work they do and contribute lots of money. In fact, this city helped build their facility. And they have a much larger facility, and they have a capacity to do much more. Well, I want to hear about all that. I want to hear all about it, and, people kind of know what the price is. It's kind of interesting. The new ones cut their bid in half from what it was before. Guess it's pretty lucrative. But I want to hear all of them. And Mr. President, I mean, when you say what we're going to give him what the chief wants, the chief just stated that he had no preference over it was a proposal or a quote. I think this is I personally think the quote is in here, so the fix is in. I want to hear what the people who have served this community for 75 years, or I don't know how long their institution's been, what they have to offer. I didn't feel it was good when we left them in the first place. But I want to hear the proposals and all that each of them have to offer. Yep. And in this case, it's not just the price. And they send them down the river at the second their technical obligation is met. I think some institutions do a heck of a lot more. So I very much support the idea of being able to hear, and I don't think I'm afraid of any politics that might come in. Politics isn't always a dirty word. It's of the people. That's what politics means. So let's have it all vetted. I mean, you got a new chairman over there in finance, and it's already put the fix in. So
that's uncalled for.
Well, that's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. I'm not talking to you.
Well, I'm asking
okay.
you to stop.
Your Honor, would you stop him from talking?
Yes.
So I ask you.
All right, stop.
Okay.
All right, knock it off. You made the second. I understand why you want an RFP.
I think we need to hear
right.
All of it, and I think there's people in the audience who would like to speak to this, so I make a motion to open the floor.
Yeah. So there's, on an RFQ versus an RFP, you want to... Okay, Alderman Zima made a motion to open the floor. I'm going to finish up these lights, and then we'll go back to that. Alderman Moore?
Your Honor, with all due respect, Alderman Zima was at the meeting and may have forgotten, but the director of the Humane Society is the one who requested the RFQ and is the one that sold us on the RFQ. Thank you.
Alderperson Dorff, this is on the amendment to go from a request for quotation to a request for proposal, which is more encompassing, and you now have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was at the meeting as well, and while I respect what Alderman Zima is saying about hearing the whole story, I would have to agree with Alderman Dwayne and Alderman Moore. I would like to see it be a request for quote. not for proposal. I understood after attending that meeting, there was a lot of discussion the last time this was open, and that we know what we want in the contract. We know that both of these places can provide that because the animals go from one place to the other after 7 days. So we know the animals are well cared for in either place. So I would like to see the process be a little smoother, a little swifter, and a request for a quote.
All right, thank you. All right, Alderman Dwayne?
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. I'd just like to respond. The last time this was brought up, and I wanted to make that same point, Alderman Moore, the new director over at Bay Humane Society did stand up. The concern was the fighting, the name calling. Everybody was, and that's what I meant by, being all politics, the blame on staff and this person and that person. Now, when it comes back to us, we can ask all those questions. The contract's going to be out there, and it's going to be based on so many things. And we can ask. We'll see the contract, and then we can still get that same information and hear it all. And so, I'm hoping the council will keep it as an RFQ. That's all that's needed, and we can still get all the information.
All right, thank you. Alderman Stoyer is on the amendment.
Thank you, Your Honor. Being at that meeting as well, Mr. Warpinski did stand up and give a very good account of the Humane Society, but did state that the RFQ would be the way to go. So I concur with Alderman Dwayne, Alderman Moore, and the others, Alderperson Dorf, that the RFQ would be the way to go. Thank you.
Right. You want the floor again? Nope. Alderman Zima, did you want to open the floor?
I had made a motion to open
And it
the
didn't.
floor.
There was no second. No, there's a second. Okay. We have a motion by Alderman Zima, seconded by Alderman Weary, to open the floor to hear from interested parties on this item. All in favor of opening the floor, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nay. Nays have it. Floor is not open. Okay, so we're going to use the board on this, and this is whether to open the floor or not.
While that's going on, could you just tell everybody if the term's still out there that the rest of it's been approved?
Go ahead. I'm going to have to break the time. Okay, and that's a 5-7 vote. We're going to get done with this right now. I mean, all the items on that report have been approved, right, with the exception of this item. So we're back to the amendment. The amendment is to change the word quote to proposal. So right now it's a request for quote. The amendment is to change it to a proposal, which is more encompassing. Anybody else want to discuss? Or I'm going to ask you to use the board on this. Just use the board on this. Okay, and that motion fails on a vote of 2-10. So we'll go right to motion to approve by Alderman Tom Dwayne, second by Alderman Joe Moore. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it, and that item has been approved. Clerk?
Report of the Park Committee.
All right, well, there's a motion by Alderman Randy Scannell, second by Alderman Joe Moore, to approve the report of the Park Committee. That was for the meeting held on Wednesday, April 27th. Are there any items in this report you wish to handle separately? Number 4. All right, hearing none others, all in favor of the remainder of that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it. All items under this report have been approved with the exception of item 4. What are your wishes regarding item 4? Just let me get this on the floor. There's a motion to approve by Alderman Zima. Seconded by Alderman Tom Dwayne. Alderman Randy Scannell.
I would just like to send this back to committee. There might be other options available, and I just think we could take a week and carefully look at that and possibly save the city some money or we can go forward with confidence that we've done everything we can to do this responsibly. So I make a motion to send this back to committee.
All right, we have a motion by Alderman Scannell to refer this item back. Is there a second?
Second for
Vluck.
discussion.
Okay. So Alderman Moore. Alderman Scannell, anything else you want to say about that? Can you clear this?
Not at the moment.
All right. Alderman Moore, you want to comment on this?
Yes, Your Honor, I know we want to move forward on this and, get some action taken. So I just wanted to ask a question of Director Kramer, if that's okay.
All right.
So directing staff to prepare the bid documents, is there a cost to preparing these bid documents? If we decide to deny this and do a smaller version, then are we duplicating that cost on doing a second set of documents?
Yes, there would be a cost to do a second set of documents.
This funding has been coming from, on the documents, from the money that was fundraised?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Alderman Tom DeWayne on referral?
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to vote this down. There's absolutely no reason to send this back. This has been they've done over and over and over and over again, and it's about time we get to see what's going on, what the RP brings us, so we can get forward on this. To send it back would just it's. I'm just not going to vote for it. I don't want to.
All right, thank you.
Say anything else.
All right, Alderman Dave Nenning on referral?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to support referral for a couple of reasons, and as chairman of the Park Committee, I'd like to explain what occurred here. At the last council meeting, the City Council referred it back to the Park Committee with directions to look at ways of reducing the cost of a 50-meter pool project. With the help of our consultant, we did receive a recommendation to reduce it from the original figure of $6.8 million to $6,182,000. Now, our committee did not receive this information until we were at the committee, nor did members of the public that were there that had an interest in the issue. So that's what we had, and the committee made a motion to finalize the bid documents and to go forward in that manner. Now, since that meeting of the Park Committee, there have been several items, several amenities that people who've been involved with this and our staff, in some cases, recommend be added back to the project. So with those additions that have been suggested since the Park Committee meeting, the figure is now $6,550,000. And we have not really had an opportunity to review those amenities that are being suggested as being added back. Now, I know the suggestion is that we could put those things as options, that deducts, if you will, that could be eliminated if the project comes in over bid. But I really wonder if that's the proper way to do it. I know some of my colleagues often say that issues are not vetted enough, and although there has been a lot of discussion on this issue over many years, we have new information here that has not been vetted by the Park Committee, and I don't know how any of us could give informed recommendations on that this evening. So I'm going to support the motion to refer it back.
All right, thank you. Alderman Scannell, did you want to speak again?
Yes. I can think of millions of reasons to send this back. Millions of dollars. I am all for this, doing an Olympic-sized pool in Green Bay, and I'm all for doing a pool at Coburn Park. But I feel, for myself, it'd be irresponsible not to look at every option. Now, I know there's a lot of suspicion out there, and there's a lot of, this is happening at the 9th hour, but the pool isn't going to be done this year. There's not going to be a new pool this summer. We've got some time. let's look at all the options that are out there. I don't see why we wouldn't want to do that. I want to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Nenning, did you have anything else? All right, then Alderman Weary.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Probably having been the most involved on this project of anyone, I think probably in the city, I can tell you, red tape and delays are synonymous with government, aren't they? And they certainly have with this project. Since day one, we've held how many meetings, Alderman Nenning, at Colburn Park to see what people wanted. We know what they want. We've held public meetings, park committee meetings. We've had people here at council over and over and over and over and over and over. It's time to move forward on this. And there are people here to speak, and I would gladly open the floor in a minute here to ask them to speak. The motion to open this up for bids, and I was going to amend it to add those items, because we did hear from our Grafe, person we hired to do the pool plans, and our city engineer. Well, referral takes precedence over an amended motion. So it's easier to deduct items. Bid out what you want in your pool, which we know what we want. We know what we want. Bid those out. We all feel that the bids are going to come in lower. And if they do and we can get everything we want in this pool, we're set. If we need to make some tough decisions, there's line items on what to deduct. It's very simple. There's vague rumblings of promises of other projects. We've heard this before. We had a request to go before the Stadium District Board for some money for the pool, and those rumblings came up, and it derailed things there and put it on hold. So this is not a new thing. And just because someone else is promising it, well, I'm also hearing they want a substantial amount of city money to do the project. So they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart or just because they want to do it. They need money to do it as well. I'm going to make a motion to open the floor for interested parties.
Second.
I'm against referral.
All right. So we have a motion and a second to open the floor to hear from interested parties. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The floor is now open to hear from the public. We're discussing item 4. What's on the floor right now is to refer this item back for more discussion to the Park Committee. But if there's anyone here who'd like to make a comment, this is directing staff to prepare bid documents for a concrete 50-meter pool at Colburn Park with 2 possible deduct options for the current channel and the 25-yard bump-out lanes. If you'd state your name and address, please.
My name is Leah Frost. I live at 1665 Patton Street. I have been with the Friends of Colburn Park Pool virtually from the beginning. We are, I believe, in year 5 of this effort. At this point, we have, as Alderman Weary stated, heard very, very clearly from the community what they are looking for. We've hashed it out at council level, at committee level, and at grassroots level. We're at a point where, in the name of trying to protect the community and look at absolutely every option that comes up, we're thumbing our noses and showing deference to all of the opinions, all of the communication, all of the hard work that has happened up to this point. Any given day, somebody new can come forward and say, ooh, I've got a better idea. Well, now I'm thinking about putting a pool in. And this can go on perpetually over and over and over again. When are we going to show respect toward the people who have stated their opinion, worked incredibly hard on this, raised $1 million, and the people who are giving massive sums of money for this effort and move this forward? There's really no clear reason to not send this out to bid. And it's a bit of an insult and somewhat, I think, embarrassing, perhaps, for the city of Green Bay to continue down this road when, honestly, you look at other communities south of us and they made a very decisive, clear decision as to what their priorities were and moved on it. I look for your support tonight to move this forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to make a comment here? Is it on here?
Hi, thank you.
Hi.
I'm Dan Rowe. I am at 1710 King of Arms Drive, and this process has been my first time participating in local government, and I really hope that it turns into an impressive one. And besides myself, I think there's a lot of the young people, the kids that have been on the swim teams and just interested parties that have also gotten a chance to participate in this process for the first time, and I hope it's impressive for them. We've been to the Parks Committee meeting where they've made the same points over and over again, and they've sent it to the council meetings where they've said the same things over again. And we could keep sending it back and forth, but I really hope we could just send the bids out and get something done at this time. It's been enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Anyone else wish to make a comment on this? Anyone else?
Move to return to regular order.
All right, there's a motion by Alderman Joe Moore, seconded by Alderman Tom Slottick to return to regular order. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it. We're back in regular order. And Alderman Weary, or you had the floor? Alderman Weary.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a couple more things. Let's not refer this back. Let's bid it out. Honor our He really wants the city to honor its commitment. He's pretty intent on that. And I'd like to point out Appleton's Olympic-sized pool, Herb Pool, needed replacing. They made a decision to replace it, just like that. No fundraising required, and they're getting it done because it was a priority. We've heard over and over that this is a priority. People want this. Let's stop goofing around. Get this done.
Thank you. This is on referral. Alderman Vanderleest, you now have the floor.
Our park director, Donnie, she requested at our meeting that, she'd like another couple weeks to look it over. In other words, to get it right. And then it was going to, from that point, we were going to look at, what was really going to be there. And then I think it would be, try to save cost-wise. And a lot of the people that she talked to, wanted the input on both sides. And Dawn, excuse me, I understand your name, she requested that 2-week period that we bring it back and give her a little more time to look things over. And I don't think 2 weeks are going to make any difference. If it makes a difference to the park director, I think it's a good idea to let her look it over, and we'll be bringing it back very soon, and then we can vote on it. Then it can go out to bids. I think that's a reasonable request. The park director, she seems like she's been with the program right from the beginning, and I think that we should honor that.
Thank you. Alderman Guy Zima.
Thank you, Your Honor. This thing has been talked to death, especially for the last couple of years. And, our administration has consistently, and the leadership of our administration has consistently sought other options other than doing this community project. And nobody's going to know the real cost of this until we bid it. People are making, Mr. Nennig said, well, this is bringing it down to this price or it's raising it up to this price. We have no idea what the prices are until we bid it. Then you know what you're talking about. And I think at that point in time, we decide whether we want to add things, subtract things, find other resources if necessary or not. It's time to get the information before us. This is basic to getting information before us. And, it's been crystal clear to the community what the community wants. And I feel like this is just yet another stall at the 11th hour with very, very feeble reasoning. And, of course, it's to mask the real reason. Our administration wants to find some way to put the sword to this yet. And they don't show up at the meeting to talk because they let other people do the work. I feel so sorry for our park director. She's a great person, and yet she's has to work for something. So we've invented yet another reason to look at these things. These all can be looked at. Mr. Weary is going to make an motion to include the things that were in the staff memo, and all that's going to be there, and we're going to be able to see it. And we're going to show the community that, hey, we're finally going to find out what the facts are. Why would anybody want to deal without the facts? And I think this community is going to stand behind it no matter what comes. That's my opinion. I know I'm going to. We have plenty of resources. If that thing comes in higher, well, we can decide to eliminate a few things if we want. And we have other places to go to get the money if it's necessary. And those are the policy decisions, the political decisions, policy decisions that this council will make at that time. I'm very much opposed to referral. It's just a stall. Everybody here in this room knows it. Stall for who? So that they can maybe move this from the public sector to the private sector?
Point of clarification. I believe I gave reasons other than stalling for going for.
Okay,
Jay, do I have the floor? Or does
You
Mr.
do, but
Salem?
you don't, yeah. His reason wasn't to stall it. I mean, he did state reasons before he referred it. So we should
Well, I
honor
said
that.
they were feeble.
Okay.
Feeble.
Yeah, you said that.
We know that it's a stall. This is a stall. This is the man who brings what the administration wants all the time. Are you for this, Mr. Mayor, or not? Are you?
I told the people I'm for an Olympic-sized pool. Where's your county money you promised?
But at Colburn Park?
I didn't say that.
Oh, he didn't say that.
No.
Oh, gee. Now the picture is becoming clearer.
No, I didn't say it wasn't either. I said, look, I am
You want to
for
put it
a-
over at the Tundra Lodge. Everybody in this room knows that.
Yeah. it's referral.
Isn't that what it is?
No.
Isn't that what it is?
Where's your county money?
Well, it's time to put this thing to a halt. I'm opposed to referral. It's time to get the information and make decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Mark Stoyer on referral.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm a member of the Colburn Friends of Colburn, so I've been to dozens and dozens of meetings as well, and I think we're all at a point where we've had our fill. My feeling is that it should go out to bid. We can always trim back some of the amenities that we don't need. I feel the West Side needs this. I feel the City of Green Bay needs this. So I'm against referral. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Alderman Vanderleest, did you want to speak again on referral? Okay, if you hit your cancel, the yellow button, then your light comes off up on my board here. Alderman Weary?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to point out the the motion that I would hopefully be making if we deny referral. Actually, Director Kramer drafted and Director Grenier reviewed, and so they were both involved with this motion. And Director Kramer, God bless you. Are you ready to move ahead with this pool tonight? Would you have any problem with moving ahead based on what we put together?
Oh, I got the wrong light. Okay, go ahead.
The reason that I asked for referral back to the committee at the last park committee was because we were still not set on what contingencies we wanted in the pool. And that was my objective. Since that time and this weekend, a lot of you have contacted us, and a lot of you have contacted the whole process and said, reviewed the list and said, this is what you want. So what I'm going to say to you is, if this is surely what you want for the amenities to be put into the pool, then we can move ahead. But unless we know the amenities, we cannot bid this process, because we need to know exactly what we're putting in this pool.
So you're ready to go? We have the exact list here that we've discussed for years, so we're ready to go. Thank you.
Alderman Joe Moore?
Thanks, Your Honor. So I'm going to, actually, I'm not going to support referral, and I've got three reasons for it. First off, we don't have to refer this to process documents. I mean, it may take us a week or 2 weeks to get the documents all processed and set up to submit for bid regardless. And at that time, I would just ask that Alderman Weary, who I trust with this pool more than anybody else I trust with this pool, would have a chance to review, make sure all those amenities are included. That's part of the motion that Alderman Weary wants to make. So that'd be part one. Number two, item number 5 in this report is our $3.5 million commitment. We're approving our commitment to the pool right now. We're not approving $5 million or $6 million today. We're approving the $3.5 million we promised to bond. So that part's taken care of. And then the third part is that to date, no tax money has been spent in the bid process. This has been fundraised money that's been coming out of the $1 million. I understand that there'll be less of that money to put toward the pool project when it happens, but we're not charging my constituents or your constituent at this time to submit bid documents. And if we change them, we change them, and that money will come out of there as well, and we'll deplete that $1 million pretty fast. But I mean, those are my three reasons. I'm just going to support going ahead with the bid documents today.
All right, thank you. Alderman Tom Dwayne.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. You know, I agree. You know, I talked earlier. This needs to get going. It's very clear. I read over this, and I've talked to just about everybody. I didn't make a lot of the meetings like other people, but I kept in constant contact with Alderman Weary and a lot of the supporters out here, and so I was kept up on every stage of the thing. You have our director. I think she needs to get going on this because she's been put through a lot on this, and it's been a long time, and that's a lot of stress. And we're putting a lot of stress on the people out here. We already committed to 3.5. Let's get the RFP. You clearly can take things out as we go down. I don't believe it's going to be as high. I'm believing Director Grenier can vouch for me that this can get going right away if it's already said. I'm not sure. Mr. Grenier, can I ask Mr. Grenier?
Go ahead.
How long will it take? Because she's the one that will be doing this.
We would not.
Okay.
This still needs to go back to the consultant. We're at a concept plan right now. Design drawings and design specifications still need to be drafted. My best estimate, now I haven't had a chance to discuss it in great detail with the consultant, but to go from a concept to a biddable set of documents, I'm anticipating somewhere in a 4-month to 6-month range just to have documents we can put on the street. That point sets you at the day zero that I've outlined in the memo.
Well, that gives me all the more reason why you don't want to stall this anymore. I apologize. That's in my mind. I apologize to you, Alderman Scannell. That is not a stall thing. Stopping this any further. And I'm man enough to admit that was the wrong word, and I don't think it was a stall. I was confused with what you said to me before the meeting, but now I think I know where you're coming from, and I don't believe that. I don't believe what you'd said to me. I didn't really understand it. So we'll talk later on that. But, yeah, we need to get this going.
Right.
Thank you.
All right, so again, the motion on the floor is to refer this, Alderman Tom Slottick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am not going to support referral. I agree with the comments that I heard from Alderman Steuer and Alderman Dwayne. This has been vetted as thoroughly as anything can be vetted. We've had untold conversations about this project, and I think the committee did what the council directed it to do at the last meeting, and so we should go ahead and get these bids out. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Alderman Randy Scannell.
Yep. Just one thing. And it's for Director Donnie. I'm trying to remember a conversation we had about the Resch pool. Am I correct, or is my memory failing me, that took 10 years of work to get done?
Yes.
So the Resch took 10 years. We're at 5 now, and we're looking at maybe a few more weeks. I don't think that's unreasonable.
Right.
Thank you.
They are. All right. Right. I hear you. All right, so I'm just going to do a roll call, voice vote on referral. A roll call vote on referral, spend the $40. I'm going to put that toward the pool. To refer it. All right, that motion fails. Motion to approve by Alderman Tom Dwayne, second by Mark Steuer. All in favor of that motion, please sing. Oh yeah, the amendment. That's right. Right.
I apologize.
Me too. Alderman Weary.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This motion is to amend, and the motion is put in place such that you put everything you want in the pool and you can deduct it. That's easier than adding it. So good quotes come in, we can have everything you want in the pool. If not, we can make those decisions down the line. The motion is to direct staff to have the consultant complete design for the 50-meter pool and prepare bid documents which include the 50-meter pool shown under option I, plus the enlarged zero entry area and drop slide, with alternate bids shall be included in the bid documents to reduce the size of the zero entry area, eliminate the drop slide, toy and activity allowance, eliminate climbing wall, eliminate 1-meter diving board, eliminate 8-lane, 25-yard cross lanes, and eliminate current channel. Those are the deducts. That's my motion.
All right. So we have a motion by Alderman Weary and a second by Alderman Moore to amend item 1 as he stated. You can hand that to the clerk. You're going to have to raise your hand for a second here. Any discussion on the amendment? Yeah, I want to see the board. Okay. All right, seeing no lights, all in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Then a motion to adopt is amended by Alderman Weary, second by Alderman Joe Moore. And all in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. That motion has been adopted as amended.
Report of the Plan Commission.
All right, we have a motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Joe Moore to approve the report of the Green Bay Plan Commission for the meeting held on Monday, April 25th. Any items under this report you wish to handle separately? Item 2. Okay, hearing none others, all in favor of the remainder of that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it. All items have been approved with the exception of item 2. And what are your wishes regarding item 2? Need somebody make a motion to approve, or get this on the floor. Right here. Or motion to approve by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Joe Moore. Alderman Scannell.
Yes. Thank you. I know there is someone here who would like to speak out on this, so I'd like to make a motion to open the floor.
All right. So there's a motion by Alderman Scannell, second by Alderman Mark Stoyer to open the floor to hear from interested parties. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nay. So, keep council on track here. We're discussing item 2 under the report of the Green Bay Plan Commission. That's to rezone highway commercial C2, district and office residential, district to downtown D1. This is on the convenience store at 515 West Walnut. So if anyone would like to speak to this, if you come up to the podium, state your name and address.
My name is Sarbjit Singh. I live in Appleton, Wisconsin, 4052 Cattle Court.
Okay. Welcome.
Okay, I have a concern. You're writing on that too.
He wrote something. He asked me to read it for him.
Oh, all right. Go ahead.
Okay. I have some concerning questions with the building of a Quick Trip store on South Maple Avenue and Walnut Street. Quick Trip is a really busy gas station, and I'm highly concerned for the customer safety of the building with the semis that have a tractor and trailer combined measuring out to almost 70 feet long. With the semis pulling into the Quick Trip from South Maple Avenue, would they be blocking traffic or holding traffic up driving on South Maple Avenue? Also, with the semis pulling into Quick Trip from the South Maple Avenue, how will there be enough room for a semi to safely pull into the parking lot with the customer parking area on the South Maple Avenue? With Quick Trip being a really busy gas station, they'll need plenty of parking for their customers. Also, with the semis blind backing up, I am highly concerned in the safety of customers among our youth walking through the parking lot. That is putting a lot of risk into the setup of a Quick Trip. How many square footage would a semi-driver actually have to safely pull in and out of this Quick Trip? Also, with the setup of the fuel pumps, how would a semi safely pull in while a customer is pumping fuel into their vehicle?
All right. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak to this item? This is 515.
Mayor?
Yep.
I got a question for first person.
Okay, Randy, there's a question for your presenter. All right? I don't know. What's the question? Go ahead. We read it for him.
What's his concern? He lives in Appleton. I mean, does he have property around?
Yeah, we own the gas station here, that too.
Oh, you own the property?
Yeah, in the property, yes, they are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we concerning that too. They're like, we follow the city law, but they have is a 50 feet line there, semi pulling that too from the building to the curb. I driving semi. I don't think they're gonna turn that. I don't know how they could prove on the planning department.
Now. So are you selling the property?
No, that's not my property. That too.
That's not your property.
No, we own the property on the other side.
Pardon?
We have the we have the property on Dutchman Street.
Pardon?
Dutchman. Yeah.
Is it adjoining?
It's a competitor.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Was there anyone else that wanted to speak to this? Garrett? It was on the Quick Trip 515. Okay.
North Van Buren on behalf of Broadway tonight as a board member there. We fully support this. Ask for your vote for it. Much of what we do is to revitalize and beautify our district. This would be a great addition to the district. Not only will they offer the fresh, the inexpensive grocery, the food basics for the nearby residents, they'll expand and they'll beautify that store. And most importantly, they're stable. They're an excellent operator of that facility. And anyone who's been to a Quick Trip can vouch for that. So we met with our aldermen in our district. We voiced our support. We ask for your support for this store. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Garrett, 1 second. Alderman Stoyer?
Yes, thanks, Garrett. Do you feel satisfied with the design of the building? Being in a historic area, that they. I think initially when we saw the plans, I thought a little on the plain side, as Alderman Zima said as well. So, but they have been changed. Do you feel comfortable with that?
The revisions that they made look very good. Thanks. The revisions that they made look very good. We're very satisfied with them.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Go ahead, dude.
Good evening. William Peters, 233 North Ashland Avenue, Green Bay. I'm in favor of the Quick Trip. I believe that they are very accommodating to the neighborhood, even for the reason that they're not looking to build the full Quick Trip at that location. They're going to try to match that footprint that's already there. The Quick Trip is also going to offer great amenities for the neighborhood. I mean, grocery, meats. And they also run a very tight ship, at least from what I've noticed, patronizing many Quick Trips throughout the area compared to some other gas stations. Keep their property very clean. They keep loitering to zilch almost. They do a very good job at running a tight ship. And I think, the hours of operation. I don't know how true it is, but I read that they're approximately open till 10 p.m. around that area at night, whereas the current gas station that's there, they're open till midnight, Sunday through Thursday, and then 24 hours Friday and Saturday. And I think even reducing the hours alone is going to cut back on police calls, potential police calls, and disturbances in that area. So, thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Will. Is there anyone else?
My name is Michael Kane. I own 117, 119 South Maple. So this is directly going to be adjacent to my property. I am in favor for a Quick Trip. I really do like the idea of a Quick Trip. The only concern I have at this time is what the other gentleman did say about space. It is tight getting in and out of there. Even with the purchase of the 113 South Maple, that's a very small lot that is not gaining a big footprint for the station. I have not seen the drawings or what the plan is for it. I do have concerns about that. I also have concerns with having a fence along my property, which is going to be basically about 10 feet off of our entry doors on the side of the property. So I would like to see them maybe take a bigger footprint and get a bigger area, just to give more leadway for the semi-drivers. I myself am a truck driver. I do understand how hard it is to get in and out of places. I deliver gas, or used to deliver gas. I deliver to many Green Bay stations. That station, with the current footprint, with the location, and trying to get in and out of there is going to be very difficult. It's not a very big area to drive the semis in and out. I am also concerned with my renters. It is a rental unit. With the renters, having to deal with that the traffic and with the lights right there on the side of our property. I do, like I said, I love Quick Trip. I do patronize them all the time. I'm a little concerned with the space that they're allowing themselves for that gas station.
Hang on 1 second, Alderman Dwayne.
Yeah, thank you.
Mark.
I just got one question.
Yes.
You're adjacent to the property, you said, correct?
I am adjacent to 113, which is the proposed property for them to purchase with the gas station.
But did I hear you right, that you said you prefer not to have a fence?
No, I'm fine. What I don't want to see is a fence right on my property. So if you walk out our side entry doors, you literally are going to be 10 feet from the property line. So if they're putting a fence in that area, I'm torn on it. It could really hurt me, or it could really benefit me. I don't know which way it's going to go at this point. The only thing I am concerned with is the safety of the people, and in having, they're full lit gas stations all night. So that is the side of the building that the bedrooms are on. So those bedrooms are going to be directly on that property line, and you're going to have all the lights and things like that shining in the house. Like I said, I'm up in the air. I don't know how this is going to affect me. I don't know how my tenants are going to feel about it. It is going to affect them because there will be lights shining in their bedrooms all night. Right. So I am a little concerned with the footprint size. I just don't know if there's the full room. Although I would prefer a Quick Trip down there. To clean that area up would be great. To get rid of that station, the liquor store. The liquor store is a huge problem. I do understand Quick Trip sells liquor. However, that liquor store is a huge problem. Everybody buys liquor. They walk basically to our property, and that's where all the empty bottles end up. So, there's a lot of things that Quick Trip could bring to us. I just am concerned with the size of the footprint they're looking at.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishes to speak to this property, 515?
Thank you. Hello, my name is Tom Matuzak. I'm the owner of the 515 West Walnut gas station. Just to the concerns of our neighbors and friends, I do understand some of their concerns. I just wanted to mention we currently do have semis pulling in and out of there on the site, smaller than what Quick Trip would want. We currently do have a fence, which Quick Trip would probably install to keep lighting out of the lights. I can't speak for Quick Trip, but I know other stores mask the side of the lights that face housing to direct lighting toward the store itself. So there are some fixes for some of these problems that the neighbors concerned. Correct. Some hooded lighting. It hasn't been a problem. We have big semi trucks right now. Budweiser, our grocery vendor, they pull up on our store with their semi trucks currently. It's a tight lot, but they make it work, and they're very careful. We've never had a problem in the 16 years that we've owned the store. I'm not a real fan of Quick Trip because they're my competitor, but they do a great job. I really can't say much bad about them. They're just a huge force, and I've never seen a bad store. I've never seen an ugly store. They do a real good job and hard to compete with their buying power. So obviously we would be in favor of Quick Trip taking over our store, and I had options of selling to other people, and Quick Trip has no financial contingency, and we're not getting that much more money for that location, but we thought it'd be a better fit for the neighborhood. So we'd like to see it go to someone who can bring it up and not let it run down. So thank you.
Well, thanks for that. All right, thank you. Any questions for this gentleman? All right.
Mariah Kelly, 107 South Oakland Avenue, and I am representing Seymour Park. We have spoken to all of our board members, and all of our board members do approve the Quick Trip. We think it would be a great improvement for our neighborhood, especially having the daytime hours, how clean it is, how maintained it will be, that it is a smaller footprint for a gas station, especially for Quick Trip, and that it will no longer be a 24-hour gas station, so it'll be much quieter for our neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak to this specific item? Anyone else? Anyone else?
Move to return to regular order.
All right, there's a motion by Alderman Tom DeWayne, second by Alderman Randy Scannell to return to regular order. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it. We're back in regular order. Alderman Scannell, I think you had the floor. Alderman Nenning, I'll get to you next.
I just make a motion to approve.
Okay, there's still a couple lights on here. Wasn't there a motion and a second to approve this, and then we went to referral? So, all right, so let me get to Alderman Nenny and then Alderman Zima. Alderman Nenny?
Thank you, Your Honor. As a member of the Plan Commission since the last meeting, that was my first meeting, I do want to give a little bit of background on this. What is proposed here is what's called a Quick Trip Express. It's not a full Quick Trip with a car wash and all the other amenities that you find at many of the Quick Trips. This is a smaller version, a business model that they are using now in urban areas, just like what we have here. They did present at the Plan Commission a plan which shows how their deliveries would be made with fuel. It would be with a 48-foot trailer, as I understand it. And I'd like to speak after this, but I'd like to ask Mr. Vonk to comment a little bit on the plan that was submitted, including the parking and the traffic issue.
Director Vonk.
Thank you. It's in regards to the site plan. It is a tight site. Given we're working in an urban environment here, I think that is one of the reasons that Quick Trip looked to buy the additional parcel to the south, is to give them a little more working room. One of the main concerns that did come up was deliveries through the tractor trailer. They use a 48-foot unit. Those deliveries generally come about once a week. Most of their goods are delivered, via box truck or smaller vehicles. Initially, we can't have the trucks backing in off the street, so that was a no-go from the start. We did work it to a spot. Initially, they had come up Maple Avenue, and working with our traffic engineer, we wanted to keep them on truck routes to the longest extent possible. So we did work, and in the Plan Commission packet, they do have their engineer basically show a diagram of the turning movements, how this truck can come in from Walnut, go down just that first few parcels of Maple, swing around and back in successfully. With that, it will disrupt a parking space or two. That is where basically they have their employees parking. So they'll be able to move, when those deliveries come in. As far as that, just working through our zoning administrator and planners, it meets all other requirements in terms of what it needs, for making it work there right now. The CUP is coming forth again to operate a convenience store. I think the Plan Commission put in two conditions based on some discussion at the Plan Commission about aesthetics. I did send out to council members, I believe it was the end of last week, a revised facade that just showed some bricked up improvements in parapets, kind of making the facade a little more attractive, and also just two fence options, a combination of a wrought iron or a vinyl board-on-board kind of lattice fence. I think one of the things that we would do is, I think the applicant willing to work with those materials and through the site plan work with the neighbor to come up with a screening that's appropriate with that. But in terms of the requirements, it is tight, but they do meet or exceed all the necessary requirements.
Thank you, Your Honor. I don't know how many of you looked at it, but on April 29th there was a revised plan and a letter that was emailed to all the council members, and I would make a motion to amend the Plan Commission report to reflect what was submitted to the council members on that date. So I would add two additional conditions. Number one, that the building facade be consistent with the revised plan emailed to all council members on April 29th, 2016. And number two, that a fence be constructed on the south side of the property consistent with the revised plan, subject to final site plan review.
Second. All right. I don't want to get to you, but they're going to put that, an amendment, C and D, yes, referencing the April 29th letter as well as the fence specifications. That was a motion by you and seconded by Alderman Joe Moore to amend item 2. Yes. Anything else, Dave or Alderman Nunning, you want to speak on that? Huh? All right. Alderman Zima?
Thank you, Your Honor. The amendments are essentially what I was going to do, and I thank Mr. Nennig for presenting them. It was kind of an odd meeting in which, when we brought up the possibility of maybe taking one more house and giving it a little more room, the Quick Trip representative said that they didn't have budget for that. I did show the gentleman who owns the next property the fence that was being proposed, and I did ask him if he was willing to sell it, and he said he was. So that is a possibility, but at the meeting, the owners indicated that, or at least the representative of the owners, thought that their budget was too tight to allow for that. But that was something that was brought up, and but was rejected by the applicants. Then we talked about improving the lines on the building and try to give it a little bit more character that would fit with the neighborhood. It'd be acceptable. And he abruptly said, "Oh, out he went." And we were all kind of stunned by it. But they did reconsider, and I have to say I very much approve of the changes they made. They're very in line with what on Broadway had talked about, what the neighbors that I had talked to had talked about, and was much more pleasing to me too. And I'd like it back, but I'll send just a little picture of the renderings if you didn't see I don't know if you saw it. It was going to be a combination of red and cream color with a mansard roof line that would give it a little character. And the important thing, and they also in the email, they had sent a couple options for fences. One was a vinyl fence that not see-through, and the other was what the neighbors had felt it would be something really good. It's with some brick pillars and some wrought iron in between of it. And this was the option because they felt that, a fence that would allow people to go behind it and maybe do some clandestine activity, or maybe some people relieving themselves when they're walking down the line. They felt that the open concept was a better one. And so the only adaptation I'd like to make with Mr. Nennig's permission was that we put this in as the fence that we're approving. That's okay with you? I'll just I'll give a copy of that. So do we need to make an amendment to that effect?
No, I'll make that. But you're sticking with the mansard roof line.
The mansard roof line, and the one little tweak to it, the mansard roof with the couple, if they could do that right above the main door entrance, we thought that neighbors felt that would, for a very minimal amount of money, would add a little more character to it.
Right. Yeah. I appreciate your support on this. No, I got it.
Can I mention that? Can I add that to it? Would that be okay?
The roof line, where are we at with that? Was that an issue?
I mean, the gist of the conversation was to break up the facade a bit, and I think they tried to do that with some of the parapets and the coloration in brick. I think, Alderman Nenning had spoke in terms of just the combination of fencing materials. I think that was the initial proposal, is to do the brick and wrought iron, basically from Maple Street eastward into the property, and then once it hit the building, to go with the vinyl fence, basically to cover up trash cans and other things of that nature. I would just want to make sure to confer with the client in terms of, and also confirm with the neighbor, just what would be the best option for continuing that fence and the fence materials there. I think in terms of the parapet, to go back, this is what the client submitted. I would just, I also don't want to overwork this in terms of speaking on behalf of the client. They could not be here this evening. They're out of state. But just not making it contingent upon that, but just understand that staff would go back with those two things. I think they've come a pretty long way since the Plan Commission meeting. But just in terms of when we do review the site plan, those will be two comments that will be communicated after this meeting, and try and move forward to the best solution on that.
Okay.
Well, Your Honor, as far as changing the fence halfway through from the brick with wrought iron to vinyl, I think we're looking for continuity, to have the fence line go all the way along the property so that it looks like the same type of fence. If anybody's ever seen places where they put different type of fences on the same property, I think it takes from the attractiveness of it. And unless there was some big problem with that, I mean, we'd like that the fence be consistent all the way along the property and that it did not change. As far as I know there's a dumpster area, etc., but the dumpster area does have a fence around it. And we aren't going to, I think, sacrifice the beauty of this just to worry about garbage cans that are already shielded. They're already enclosed. And I think that's going to make a big improvement over to what we have right now. I think people are excited with the prospect of having this new design. He offered them up, so I'm assuming that what he offered up, his word is good on it. He said he didn't want any more changes from the council or the neighborhood. And the neighborhood is satisfied with this, and they chose the option one of the options that he sent.
Okay. Could I suggest we stick with the fence, the wrought iron, and the pillars, and a little bit leeway on this roof line? I don't want to micromanage this, but I think we are looking.
The roof line, this is what they sent, so I mean,
Okay. I thought you were changing something. Okay.
Well, I don't know. Why do I have this then?
Well, why did you? Well, you're the one who brought up the roof line, so I'm just trying to address this.
I didn't draw this, Your Honor.
Okay.
This is coming
That's
from
fine.
them, not me.
All right.
But this just turned everybody completely happy.
All right. Me too.
So, the mansard roof line, and it would just, if they could add the mansard right above the door also, which is it's a very small thing to ask. So I'll just attach the picture of the fence line. And you said you're okay with that, right, Mr. Nenny? So that would be your option. And I think the neighborhood.
Well, all right. You're not at your desk, so Alderman Tom DeWayne, did you have anything?
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor.
Well, you don't get up and walk around. You could have handed that over to the clerk. You could have handed that. We have a little. Well, go ahead.
Gee, I'm sorry, Your Honor. Wouldn't want to upset you. But the only other thing I have to add to is that since the owner of the adjacent building is there, that if they wanted to look at that later, if it became problematic, maybe that would be something we could look into. But for the time being, if this stays within their budget, and I assume it does because they sent this out to us, this is what I'd like approved. This is what the neighborhood would like approved. This is like on Broadway would like approved. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Alderman Tom DeWayne?
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. I think this is a good project. I just wanted to talk a little bit. I was at the meeting and all the discussions, and I was kind of surprised and taken aback by the Press Gazette article on it, talking about heated exchange and all this other stuff that was going on that made them walk out. And I'm here to verify that none of that had taken place. Everybody was cordial. There was a lot of questions when they said they wasn't in their budget. We went on to other things. When it was spoken about changing the, like you just saw the building, what it's going to look like, is when he walked out. The neighbors in the neighborhood were very pleasant. They just talked about their concerns. And I just want to point out that the committee themselves wanted to make a point and say that although he did rescind and walked out, it wasn't because of anything that any question or any of the dealings that went on. It was questions that we ask on every time when we go to planning concerns, and to go as far as saying Alderman Zima was in this building at 1 o'clock still working on this to make sure the neighbors were okay and that Quick Trip were okay with it. And the reason he walked out at the time, he made these changes that were talked about. And so it goes to show that it was everybody worked on this. Why he walked out, he might have been just having a bad day. They're a good company, and I want to thank Alderman Zima because he came back. He didn't get all caught up into it, and he, like I said, he was working with Director Vonk and Quick Trip, and Director Vonk went right back to work with him to get him back here, and so I just want to say there was nothing on that happened or said at that committee warrants that kind of press because it never happened.
Right.
So
thank you. Alderman Stoyer, this is.
Thank you, Your Honor. Actually, Alderman Dwayne took the words out of my mouth, too. I was at that meeting as well, and I thought the questions that Alderman Zima was bringing up, as well as some of the neighbors, were totally in order. So, like I said, he might have been having a bad day, but with all that being said, I'm in favor of this project as well.
Okay. Thank you. So we're going to take this in two pieces. You have two amendments you offered, and we'll add Alderman Zima's comments and renderings to your amendments. So the first motion on the floor is to accept the amendments of items C and D as presented by Alderman Nenning, seconded by Alderman Joe Moore. All in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. And I'll entertain a motion to adopt the whole item as amended by Alderman Dorf and seconded by Alderman Mark Stoyer. This is item 2 to adopt as amended. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it. So item 2 has been adopted by the council as amended. Okay.
Report of the Traffic Commission.
Motion by Alderman Tom DeWine, second by Alderman Andy Nicholson to approve the report of the Traffic Commission. This is for the meeting that was held on Monday, April 18th. Are there any items in this report the council wishes to handle separately? Hearing none, all in favor of that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it. The report of the Traffic Commission has been approved.
Report of the Improvement and Service Committee.
All right, there's a motion by Alderman Randy Scannell, seconded by Alderman William Galvin, to approve the report of the Improvement and Service Committee meeting, and that was for the meeting held on April 27th. Are there any items in this report anyone wishes to handle separately? Hearing none, all in favor of that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it, and that report has been approved.
Report of the Personnel Committee.
Entertain a motion. There's a motion by Alderman Randy Scannell, seconded by Alderman Joe Moore, to approve the report of the Personnel Committee. That was for the meeting held on Tuesday, April 26th. Any items under this report you wish to handle separately? Hearing none, all in favor of that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it, and that report's been approved.
Report of the Protection and Welfare Committee.
All right, there's a motion by Alderman Randy Scannell, seconded by Alderperson Barb Dorf, to approve the report of the Protection and Welfare Committee for the meeting held on Monday, April 25th. Are there any items in this report you wish to handle separately? Hearing none, all in favor of that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it, and the report of Protection Committee has been approved.
Report of the Protection and Welfare Committee granting operator licenses.
Right. There's a motion by Alderman Andy Nicholson and seconded by Alderman Bill Galvin to approve the report. This report, I'd like you to just take a look at this, because if you have a conflict of interest, you can pull any name you want, or if there's a name you don't wish to vote on or abstain from, you can say that. But I'm going to ask, there's a motion and a second to approve the report, granting these are operating licenses here in the city of Green Bay. Any items you wish to handle separately? Then hearing none, all in favor of that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, nays. So the people on this report have all received their operating licenses.
We're on to resolutions. You may, under suspension of the rules, adopt resolutions 10 through 15 together with one roll call vote.
All right, so again, this is where we suspend the rules so we can take all 5 of these items up at one time. There was a motion by Alderman Randy Scannell, and that was seconded by Alderman Joe Moore to suspend the rules for that purpose. All in favor of suspension, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nay. The rules are now suspended. I'll entertain a motion to adopt. All right, so there's a motion to adopt by Alderman Barb Dorf, seconded by Alderman Bill Galvin. And on resolutions, we use the board, and these are then documented. All resolutions and third readings are. So you just vote.
Your Honor,
Yep.
can I ask number 12, just someone to just give a little bit of what that is?
Alderman Grenier, go ahead.
Thank you.
With the watermark, there is a need for some additional amenities. In this particular case, it would be heating, ventilation, and air conditioning equipment associated with the creamery building. That can't be on the city deck side, so it has to come out into the alley. So what we're doing is we're granting them an airspace easement to allow that HVAC equipment to be in the right-of-way of the alley. It still provides enough access for the alley to function and for waste collection services for private vendors to get down there. Staff is in full support of this.
All right. So again, we'll use the board on this. This is 10 through 15. And that passes unanimously. Thank you.
Ordinance is first reading, and we under suspension of the rules advance ordinances 16 through 20 to a third reading.
Well, we'll suspend the rules. And
I'm
this
sorry,
is where,
first reading.
When we have ordinances here, they go through 3 readings. We passed a policy, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, in the interest of our customers, to advance from the first reading to the third reading. So tonight, and you're going to see this again in 2 weeks, but tonight what we're looking to do is just move these first reading ordinances to the third reading, which you will see on the 17th. So there was a motion by Alderman Randy Scannell, seconded by Alderman Chris Weary, to suspend the rules to take all these items up at once. And all in favor of suspension of the rules, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. Ayes have it. So the rules are suspended. So a motion to advance to the third reading would be proper. Right. There's a motion by Alderman Weary, second by Alderman Tom Slottick, to advance these readings. That goes on a voice vote. All in favor of advancing the first readings to the third readings, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, nays. The ayes have it. Next on our agenda is a motion to adjourn. By Alderman Tom Slottick, second by Alderman Tom DeWayne. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nays. We're adjourned. Get to what? Oh, hey, I don't know if you're going to go to that prayer breakfast. I mean, I'll buy you a ticket. I'm kind of... It's early in the morning. It's Thursday at Riverside Ballroom. Thursday, what time? 7:15. Chief's going. That Chief's going. You want to go. I mean, you know. Yep.